Hello, it's Mr. Quartermain, and as Head of Department of Physical Education, I would like to share with you some information regarding the OCR Cambridge National Sports Science Level 1 and 2. The course is made up of 4 units, therefore each unit is worth 25%. 3 of the units are internally assessed through written assignments. They are RO42, Applying Principles of Training, RO45, Sports Nutrition, and RO46, which is Technology and Sport. The other unit, RO41, Reducing the Risk of Injuries, is an externally assessed exam. Therefore, in the summer of Year 10, students will perform a 1-hour exam totaling 60 marks, which compiles of short and extended questions. These 4 units are marked from 0 to 60, and the marks achieved then get translated into a unit grade. So if you look on the screen, you'll notice that 36 is a pass, 42 is a merit, 48 is a distinction, and 52 is a distinction star. So in Year 10, students will start off by doing RO42. Now the best way to describe this unit is as a personal trainer. That personal trainer will get a client, that client would do a series of pre-tests, and then the personal trainer will do an evaluation of those pre-tests, find out what's good about them, find out the areas that are not so good, and then put together a training program. That training program will then have different principles of training that are applied for that client to then hopefully progress and improve. The personal trainer will then do post-tests, and then over a series of time, the personal trainer will then look at these post-tests along with the pre-test and then make an evaluation on the areas that have improved and the areas still need to develop. Now this unit is really nice because not only will students understand and gain knowledge and understanding in the classroom, but students will actually practically perform in this unit. So this is a really nice opportunity for students to really deepen their understanding and to really get good solid marks within this unit. They will then follow on by doing RO41, reducing the risks of injuries. So what students will do here is they will start to understand how do injuries actually happen. For example, it might be that someone's broken the rules and regulations. It might be insufficient protective equipment or footwear. It might be, for example, that the playing surface is not correct, or a game went ahead because it needed to, but actually the weather was poor. You know, for example, a frozen pitch. So what students will do here is they will understand how they start off, and then they will start to look at the different types of injuries. For example, a sprain, a strain, a cut, a bruise, swelling, concussion, dislocation. And from there, students will then understand how to treat those injuries. Once they've completed all those bits, students will then go through practice papers and exam technique in preparation for an exam that will take place in the summer series in Year 10. As already mentioned, this is a 1-hour exam and it's made up of 60 marks. Those 60 marks are then made up of short, medium and extended questions. In Year 2, students will start off by doing sports nutrition. So if you think about an endurance runner, for example, 5,000, 10,000, half marathon, full marathon, their nutrition that is required for them to perform at that intensity for that period of time is going to be totally different to maybe a footballer, a rugby player, a netballer, or a sprinter. And so students will understand the different types of nutrition. They will understand what they do, and then they'll understand where, or shall I say, what food groups will get those certain types of nutrition from. So, for example, one of those would be carbohydrates. We can get carbohydrates from pasta, and that works alongside carbohydrate loading that the cyclists do on each stage of the Tour de France. Students will then do a nutritional sort of diet program, and they will monitor that for 4 weeks, looking to see whether or not those changes to their diet then has a positive impact. And again, they will need to evaluate it. And then we have RO46, technology and sport. So this is a great way to be reflective from a technological point of view and how sport is actually transformed over the years. So we think about how the wooden tennis racket with Pat Cash and all those other famous tennis players at Wimbledon would now actually get on with the more light titanium carbon tennis rackets. And we do the same with golf, and we do the same with swimming, and we then look at different types of trainers and playing surfaces. And then we start to look about how technology has an impact within the game. So we think about cricket in terms of Hawkeye and the snicker meter, and we also look about football in terms of VAR. And so then we then start to look at in terms of the positive and negatives. Now, I suppose we think about VAR and it's more negative than positive. And one of the things that students need to do is to make an opinion on whether or not these technological advances in sport is actually taken away some of the natural performance of the athlete or the sports person, and is it actually taken away some of the sort of values that traditional sport has. So hopefully now this gives you a greater insight of what these 4 units are like and how they are sort of bonded together to make the course. I think it's really important to have one eye on the particular pathway that you would like to pursue. Now, I do totally understand as a student in year 9 that you don't really know what you might like to do as a career. But I would say that during this options process, it is a lovely opportunity for you to start to think about the sort of direction that you would like your career to go in. Now, the sports science qualification enables you to then take that stepping stone to that next step. And for us, that would be to stay on at sixth form to do the BTEC level 3 extended certificate or diploma in sport. If we look on the right hand side of the slide, you would just see a snippet of the various sort of career pathway jobs that you could potentially do. But there are hundreds more, and you can visit that web link below for further information. If I then steer your eyes to the left hand side to the pictures, you would just see a couple of examples where professional athletes are actually gone on to university to do a particular course to help them. So even though they may be excellent sporting performers, performing professionally, coaching at the highest level, doing the best research to try and get the best performers on the planet to get the best times, or to achieve an Olympic gold medal, you will notice that they have not stopped learning. And so one of the things that I would say through this options process is to really sort of jot down of what are your strengths, what are your interests, and then think whether or not that this course would be suitable for you. Students have the opportunity to purchase a sports science polo. As you can see on the screen, this is the type of polo that would be able to be purchased and can be worn during their sports science lessons, but also their core PE. On the chest, there would be the Wangels logo with the name of the course, sports science, underneath, and then on their back would be printed their surname. I think it's really important through this options process that you take real ownership. And I've shared with you on the previous slides about passion and desire and interest. And fundamentally, there would be the expectations that us as the PE department would expect when you're opting to do a sports course. Now, we don't expect students to be amazing or be particularly the best sports performer. But one of the big things that is important for this course is that you do need to have a vested interest and be quite knowledgeable about sport. And therefore, you may, for example, read a lot of articles on Sky Sports or online or from reading the paper. Because when you actually are completing these assignments, you will need to be able to research. And I suppose if you start with a wider base, then that will help you to achieve a higher overall qualification. Some of the activities students will do will involve practical elements in order to try and bring some of the theory to life. It's really important that because we're going to be doing that, that you show a real vested interest and take part in as many of the tasks and activities as possible. When we're doing stuff like the Applying Principles of Training unit, where you're completing a training plan, you have to be able to actually perform those skills practically. And then the next bits is because we are completing the work during a certain period of time, time management is key. And you need to be able to plan your work accordingly and to be very organised, as some of the work does come rather thick and fast, and so your time management against all your other subjects needs to be well managed. Thank you very much for spending the time to go through this presentation. I do hope you found it valuable and supportive through your options process. If you do have any questions, queries or concerns, please feel free to either send me an email, you can ring up on the school number, or alternatively, if you're a student that has any questions, then please feel free to knock on the PE office door. And finally, if you haven't done so already, you can follow us on the Twitter website. Many thanks, and I do wish you all the very best through the options process. Bye bye.